The sun is a hammer. It beats down on the baked marl, cracking the earth into a mosaic of ochre for the small band of Australopithecus. This is the entire world a shimmering, heat-distorted expanse under a merciless sky. Life million years ago is a state of relentless thirst. Their dark, shaggy hair offers little protection. Their bodies, built for the dwindling woodlands, now labor across open savanna. They move with a lurching, bipedal gait, a revolutionary adaptation that now feels like a curse, exposing their panting chests to the furnace of the air. The matriarch, her face a mask of deeply grooved skin, stops. Her long arms hang loose, but her eyes, dark and intelligent, miss nothing. She scans the horizon not for salvation, but for threats, which are far more reliable. She grunts, "Hello, Getteral Command." The others freeze. Two large males, their powerful jaws built for grinding tough vegetation now working on nothing, stand slightly apart, their gazes sweeping opposing flanks. The females huddle closer, pulling the two shrieking infants into the scant shade of their own bodies. This is the geometry of survival, an unspoken architecture of trust that underpins all of hominid history. The matriarch's gaze settles on a patch of withered acacia. A memory surfaces, of seasons past, of rain, of digging for sweet, watery roots in that very spot. It is a ghost of a memory, but it is all they have. Her grunt changes pitch, a signal of intent. The group moves. They dig with desperation, fingernails, already worn to the quick, tear at the compacted soil. A younger male, more resourceful than Strum, retrieves his tool from another thong around his waist, the heavy femur of a long-dead antelope. He pounds at the earth with it, the rhythmic thud a hollow prayer in the immense silence. This is the dawn of invention, not of fire and flint, but of an osteodontocratic insight, using the dead to sustain the living. The matriarch joins in, using a sharp-edged stone to scrape and lever. This is not the work of instinct alone. It is a shared project, a lesson learned and passed down through generations of these early human ancestors. After an eternity of effort, her fingers brush against something fibrous. A root. It is thin, muddy, and bitter, but it holds a trace of moisture. It is enough. She pulls it free and, without hesitation, breaks it, handing the larger piece to the female with the youngest, most distressed infant. The rest is shared in silent, meticulous portions. This is the calculus of community. The weak are not a burden, but the purpose of their strength, their fragile success, however, is being watched. From a low ridge of basalt, a pair of yellow eyes observes the scene, unblinking. The scent of hominid sweat and desperation is a clarion call carried on the hot wind, a promise of a meal to come for those who are patient. As the meager root is consumed, the matriarch looks towards the distant, muddy depression that is their last waterhole. She knows, with a certainty that tightens her gut, that they are not the only ones being drawn there. The sun begins its slow descent, painting the sky in bruised colors of violet and orange, but offering no relief. The heat of the day is merely replaced by the cold fear of the night. The journey to the waterhole is a funeral procession. Dusk bleeds the color from the landscape, leaving a world of threatening silhouettes. The matriarch's limp has worsened. Each step is a negotiation with pain. A younger male, the same one who wielded the femur, moves to her side, offering his shoulder for support. An act of profound empathy that slows them all to a perilous crawl. This is the unwritten law of these early humans. The debt to the old, who hold the maps of memory, is absolute. But the landscape is changing faster than memory can serve. The lead male watches, his brow furrowed. He knows the arithmetic of the savannah. Speed is life. Delay is an invitation to the things that hunt in the half-light. This kind of brutal calculation is a core tenet of prehistoric life. The waterhole is less an oasis than a wound in the earth, a shallow basin of stagnant, algae-choked water surrounded by trampled mud and the skeletal remains of less fortunate creatures. The air is thick with the stench of decay and the hum of insects. There is no bird song. The clan approaches with the ritual caution of all prey, spreading out, eyes scanning the dense reed beds that line the far bank. They drink in frantic, desperate gulps, their heads low but their senses screaming. Every ripple, every gust of wind through the reeds, is a potential death sentence. The matriarch kneels last, her movement stiff. She lowers her head to drink, the reflection of the first stars shimmering on the foul surface. It happens without a sound, a flicker of tawny motion in the reeds. The lead male sees it first, not the creature itself, but the sudden, unnatural parting of the stalks. He barks a warning. The sharp, explosive sound of pure terror, but it is too late. The Neanderthal erupts from the darkness. It is not a lion, it is something denser, a muscular engine of ambush with fangs like daggers. It ignores the powerful males, its yellow eyes locked on the slowest, most vulnerable target. The cat is on her into bounds, its weight driving her into the mud with a sickening crack of bone. Chaos. The males roar, brandishing their bone clubs and flinging rocks. It is a desperate, futile display against a master killer. The Neanderthal pays them no mind, its jaws closing on the matriarch's neck. For a heartbeat, the entire clan is paralyzed. They can fight and die with her, or they can flee and live. This is the moment where the future of their lineage is decided. The lead male looks at the screaming infants, at the terrified females, at the vast, dark plain behind them offering the slimmest chance of escape. He makes the choice. It is a choice that will forever sever them from their paths. He lets out another bark, not of warning, but of command. Go. He shoves the nearest female, turning his back on the struggle in the mud. He runs, run by run. The others follow, a ragged, terrified band fleeing into the stardust dead darkness. The only sound behind them is the wet, tearing noise of the kill, a sound that will echo in their minds long after it has faded from the air. The matriarch's knowledge, her memories of seasons, unroots and dangers, are being extinguished. The clan is now adrift, saved by a sacrifice they did not choose, but from which they benefit all the same. They are survivors, and this is their burden. They walk for 2 days, haunted by a death that has no name. The sun is an enemy, the silence a constant accusation. The lead male, who made the choice, now leads the ghost of a clan. He walks slightly ahead, creating a space around him that no other dares to enter. The memory of the matriarch's fall is a physical weight, pressing on them all. It is in the whimpering of the infants, who sense the gaping hole in this small universe, and in the vacant stares of the females. Their fragile community, once a circle of trust, is now a fractured line of traumatized survivors. They are a testament to the brutal mathematics of prehistoric life. Survival is not a victory, but a transaction that always leaves you poorer. On the third morning, a new scent cuts through the dry air. It is not the smell of dust or decay, but of damp earth, of deep and ancient water, laced with a strange, metallic tang. Hope, for these ancient humans, is not an emotion. It is a scent on the wind. They follow it to a place unlike any they have known. It is not a waterhole but a sprawling marsh, a verdant basin where geothermal springs bubble up, staining the mud in vibrant, unnatural hues of rust and sulfur. Plumes of steam drift like spirits among bizarre, salt-encrusted shrubs. Herbivores are everywhere, smooth. 3 two-head horses and the ancestors of gazelle, all cautiously licking at the mineral-rich clay. The clan has stumbled upon a geological anomaly, a life-giving seep that promises not just water, but the essential salts their bodies crave. But the promise is laced with peril. A young male, eager and incautious, steps onto a patch of bright green turf. It dissolves beneath him. He drops into a waist-deep slurry of clinging, viscous mud. Panic flashes in his eyes. He thrashes, but his struggles only pull him deeper. This is the new test. There is no predator to fight, only the patient, indifferent physics of the land. The lead male reacts instantly. The trauma of his last failure has sharpened him. He grunts a command, and the others understand. They do not rush in. Instead, the lightest of the females, her feet barely seeming to touch the ground, picks her way along a line of exposed roots at the bog's edge. She finds a long, dead branch and pushes it towards the trapped male. He grabs it, on the firmer ground. The others form a chain, gripping each other's arms. The lead male anchors them, his powerful build, a product of the species marked sexual dimorphism, finally a pure asset again. They pull. The mud groans, reluctant to release its prize. For a terrifying moment, nothing happens. Then, with a great, sucking gasp, the young male is wrenched free. He collapses on solid ground, trembling, uncoated in stinking clay. They have passed the test. They have learned the price of this new paradise. Every step is a question, and a wrong answer is final. That evening, from the safety of a rocky outcrop, they watch the marsh. They are diminished. Yes, they are scarred. But as they share scraps of scavenged meat, their eyes meet in the fading light. A thread of community, nearly severed, is being painstakingly rewoven. They have survived their loss by creating a new, harder-earned wisdom. The burden remains, but now they carry it together. This is the essence of human evolution. A story written not in glory, but in shared hardship and the slow accumulation of knowledge. We pull back from this small drama, from this single band of shivering hominids huddled on a rock in Pliocene Africa. Their story is not unique. Across the continent, 1,000 other clans face 1,000 other choices. The lessons they learn, or fail to learn, are the sparks that either kindle a lineage or allow it to be snuffed out. The cold calculus that sacrificed a matriarch to save a future. The flash of insight to use a bone as a tool. The altruistic impulse to form a human chain. These are not isolated events. They are the relentless, iterative experiments of evolution. These are the moments that build the foundation of our own nature. In their struggle, we see the blueprint for everything that follows: the necessity of the group, the burden of leadership, and the profound power of a single, shared idea. The journey from Australopithecus to Homo sapiens is not a grand march of progress. It is a desperate scramble through millennia of darkness, illuminated by these brief, brilliant flashes of cooperation and ingenuity. Their survival was never guaranteed, and so we must ask how much of that ancient, terrified clan still lives within us, masked by the comforts of a world they could never imagine, still making impossible choices in the silent landscapes of our own hearts. The study of anthropology is, in the end, a search for these echoes in ourselves. The chronicle does not end. It is written in the marrow of our bones, waiting for the quiet moment when we can finally hear it. But what happens when two different kinds of humans meet for the very first time?